Hunger is the gap between the life you accept and the life you were meant to have. It is that fire that burns inside, refusing to let you give up when comfort beckons you to halt. This audiobook is for anyone who will not accept second best, who recognizes that there is more within them, and who will fight for it. You must remain hungry. All that was ever achieved in the past started with a hunger. Not a hunger for food, but a hunger for growth, for change, for something more. Hunger is not merely about survival. It is about desire, passion, and not accepting less than you are capable of. Consider times in your life when you felt invincible. Most likely, those times were when you were hungry for something. Perhaps it was the need to prove someone wrong. Perhaps it was the necessity of overcoming your situation. Perhaps it was the vision of doing something that had never been accomplished. Hunger comes in many forms, but at its essence, it remains the same, a burning inner flame that will not be silent. The truth is, most people lose their hunger. Comfort extinguishes it. Fear starves it. Routine dampens it. They forget what it feels like to chase something with everything they've got. But the people who change the world, they never lose their hunger. There is a story about a young athlete who trained day and night, not because he loved the pain, but because he was hungry for greatness. His body ached, his lungs burned, but his hunger was stronger than his pain. Years down the line, when he was standing atop the podium with a gold medal draped around his neck, he did not attribute his talent. He attributed his hunger. That is the fire within. Talent is a gift, but hunger is a choice. You cannot dictate every situation in your life, but you can dictate how hungry you keep yourself. When you wake up each morning, ask yourself, what am I hungry for? Not what do I want, not what would be nice, but what do I need to pursue so deeply that I cannot rest until it is mine? That hunger is the beginning. The fire inside you must be protected, nurtured, and fed, because once you let it die, life becomes nothing more than routine. But when you keep it alive, life is an adventure. Remain hungry for growth. Remain hungry for learning. Remain hungry for becoming the best version of yourself. That hunger will drive you through storms, through failures, through every blockade drawn in your path. You must remain hungry, because hunger is the fuel that converts ordinary lives into extraordinary legacies. Hunger might ignite the fire, but discipline keeps it burning. Inspiration can initiate, but only discipline will propel you forward once the enthusiasm wears off. Most people wait until they feel motivated to do something. But motivation is temporary. Discipline is consistent. It is choosing to do what needs to be done even if you don't feel like it. Discipline is waking up early to practice when your body wants more rest. Discipline is selecting concentration when distractions yell at you for attention. Discipline is sacrificing today for a tomorrow that exists only in your mind. Take the example of a novelist who had a vision to complete a book. She would tell everyone she wanted it, but nothing was done for years. One morning, she decided. Each morning before the sun came up, she sat down and wrote one page. Day by day, week by week. Early on, progress was minimal, nearly imperceptible. But discipline gained traction, and 1 year from then, she was holding her completed book in her hands. Her achievement was not a product of spasms of hunger. It was a product of discipline nourishing that hunger. Hunger without discipline is idle energy. It is hot, but it has a short flame. Discipline puts hunger into action. It provides form to your aspirations and turns longing into outcome. The reality is that discipline is not about punishment. It is about freedom. Freedom from what might have been. Freedom from being average. Freedom from regret. So, if you'd like to remain hungry, cultivate discipline into your being. Establish habits that support your passion. Have reminders about what you aim for right in front of you. Do the uncomfortable things, particularly when they are inconvenient, because discipline is not the enemy of hunger. It is the ally. It is the fuel line that makes your fire continue to burn far after others have stopped. Remain hungry. Remain disciplined. That mix will propel you further than talent, luck, or opportunity could ever failure. The mere mention of the word can cause people to shiver. We are instructed to stay away from it, to dread it, to make it out as the antithesis of achievement. But the truth is here. Failure is not opposite to success. Failure is a way to success. All great innovators, all world-class athletes, all great leaders have something in common. They failed, and they failed many times. The only difference is that they never allowed failure to define them. They allowed failure to refine them. When you fail forward, you don't view failure as an end. You view it as a lesson. Every disappointment has feedback. Failure informs you on what does not work, so that you can learn what does. Consider Thomas Edison. He tried and failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. Asked about his failures, he said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." His willingness to fail forward illuminated the world. But failing forward takes guts, because failure is uneasy. It hurts your ego, it tries your patience, and it makes you want to give up. It takes guts to get up when you fall. It takes guts to attempt again when there are witnesses. And yet, failure is evidence that you exist, that you are stretching, that you are attempting something worth it. The sole authentic failure is never attempting at all. Picture a child learning to walk. They fall, they stumble, they cry. But they get up again, and again, and again. Why? Because they are starving to go on. If they quit at the first fall, they would never walk. The same with you. Do not let failure shatter your hunger. Allow it to fuel it. Allow it to remind you that growth exists on the other side of difficulty. Let it make you sharper, someone stronger, wiser, and more resilient. So when you fall, learn, rise, and move once more. Because each step forward, however messy, gets you closer to who you need to become. Remain hungry enough to fail. Remain bold enough to get up. That is the way of progress. Hunger feeds on reinvention. To remain hungry, you need to be ready to change, to cast off the skin of who you used to be and step forward into who you can be. The world keeps changing day by day. And if you are not willing to change alongside, then your hunger will die. Reinvention is the craft of remaining alive in a world that never remains still. Consider the anecdotes of individuals who declined to remake themselves, companies that remained blind to new technology, athletes who hung on to the old way, managers who protested new concepts. Their appetite waned because they would not expand. Now compare that with individuals who thrived on reinvention, the painter who ventured into new forms, the business person who learned to navigate new markets, the person who abandoned a secure profession to pursue a passion. Reinvention kept hunger burning, and with it, their relevance and influence. Reinvention takes courage, for it involves letting go of comfort. It involves venturing into the unknown, taking the risk of failure, and accepting uncertainty. But reinvention also brings potential, the opportunity to find new strengths, new passions, and new frontiers. Keep this in mind: your identity is not static. Who you are now need not be who you are tomorrow. You are permitted to outgrow outdated dreams. You are permitted to pursue new ones. You are permitted to be more than anyone ever dreamed. Reinvention is not treason. It is evolution. It is being faithful to your hunger, even as it shifts form. So if you are stagnant, if you are uninspired, if your hunger is limp, perhaps it is time to reinvent. Experiment. Master a new thing. Shift your surroundings. Change your mindset. Reinvention is how you keep the fire burning. It is how you keep hunger new, exciting, and endless. Remain hungry. Reinvent courageously. For the only thing more perilous than failure is not attempting to grow. By this point, you understand that hunger is the flame that fuels growth. Structure is the discipline that maintains it. Failure is the experiment that tests and makes it finer. Reinvention is the courage that makes it bigger. But there is one additional element: gratitude. Because hunger without gratitude turns into greed. Hunger without gratitude turns into ambition without sight. Real hunger isn't about pursuing more. It is about enjoying what you currently have while reaching for who you can be. Hunger and gratitude are not foes. They are allies. Gratitude provides you with perspective. Hunger provides you with purpose. Combined, they forge balance. Without gratitude, you will reach the pinnacle of success and find nothing. But with gratitude, every step up the mountain counts. Gratitude does not bypass hunger, it refines it. Gratitude reminds you why you began. Gratitude reminds you how far you have progressed. Appreciation keeps you grounded, so you never lose sight of the fact that the journey is greater than you. Each and every day, there is something to be thankful for. The ability in your body, the wisdom from your mistakes, the people who believed in you when nobody else did. Gratitude does not suggest you settle. Gratitude is the recognition of the gift of the now and the quest for the future. And gratitude makes hunger into something more than selfish ambition. When you are grateful, you start using your hunger not only for yourself, but for others. To uplift, to serve, to give back. That is the magic. Gratitude fuels hunger. Hunger with gratitude transforms lives. We've traveled together through the fire of hunger, the strength of discipline, the courage of failure, the power of reinvention, and the grounding force of gratitude. And if there is one truth that echoes through every story and every lesson, it is this: success is never owned. It is rented. And the rent is due every single. Discipline pays the rent. Courage pays the rent. Reinvention pays the rent. Gratitude pays the rent. So ask yourself, what are you hungry for? Not what would be nice, not what others want, but what ignites your soul. That is your purpose. And when you pursue it, recall the lessons. Hunger gets you started. Discipline gets you going. Failure teaches you to grow. Reinvention makes you boundless. Gratitude gives it all purpose. You might not be able to determine where you began. You might not have the ability to decide what has happened to you. But you always have the ability to control your hunger. So this is the challenge. Nurture it. because when you remain hungry, you remain alive. And when you remain alive, you don't merely pursue your dreams. You motivate others to pursue theirs. Someday, they're going to tell your story. And the question won't be, did you play it safe? The question will be, were you hungry enough to live the life you are capable of living? Stay hungry. Stay disciplined. Fail forward. Reinvent yourself. Be thankful. And most importantly, stay alive to who you can become. Your journey isn't done. It is just starting.